Maryland is shaped by water. Rivers and the Chesapeake Bay divide the land, creating both beauty and barriers. For centuries, these waterways isolated communities and complicated travel. Marylanders responded by building bridges, feats of engineering that turned hours-long detours into quick crossings. These bridges are more than infrastructure. They're the backbone of commerce, connection, and daily life. Today, we'll explore the stories behind Maryland's most vital bridges and the impact they've had on the state. Bridges aren't just steel and concrete, they're promises of connection. Each Maryland bridge solved a unique problem, uniting communities and fueling economic growth. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge, for example, transformed a day's journey into a short drive, linking the state's two shores. The Francis Scott Key Bridge eased Baltimore's congestion, keeping commerce moving. These structures are living history, monuments to the idea that no obstacle is too great when people work together. Our journey begins with the Francis Scott Key Bridge, an engineering marvel and a workhorse for Baltimore. Next, we'll cross the iconic Chesapeake Bay Bridge, exploring its political battles and transformative impact. We'll also visit lesser-known crossings like the Hatem and Nice Memorial Bridges, each with its own story. Together, these bridges form a network that keeps Maryland connected and thriving. Let's begin our crossing. By the mid-20th century, Baltimore's port was booming, but traffic bottlenecks threatened its success. The harbor tunnel couldn't handle the growing volume, especially trucks with hazardous cargo. Planners envisioned a new bridge at the Patapsco's mouth, directly serving the city's industrial heart. This crossing would bypass downtown, streamline commerce, and future-proof the port. The stage was set for a new Baltimore icon. Every landmark needs a name. This bridge was inspired by history. Near Fort McHenry, where Francis Scott Key wrote The Star-Spangled Banner, the bridge became a living tribute to resilience and patriotism. Naming it the Francis Scott Key Bridge connected Baltimore's industrial might to a defining American moment. When it opened in 1977, the bridge became more than a crossing, it became a passage through history. The name gave the bridge a soul, turning every commute into a journey through Maryland's past. Building a bridge over a busy shipping channel demands strength, height, and ingenuity. The Key Bridge's steel arch-shaped continuous truss design was both elegant and strong, allowing massive ships to pass below and thousands of vehicles above. Unlike simple bridges, its trusses spanned multiple supports, distributing weight efficiently and creating a stable, graceful crossing. The result? A bridge that's both powerful and beautiful, an enduring symbol of American engineering. Building the Francis Scott Key Bridge was a massive 5-year effort. Foundations were sunk deep into the Patapsco, with divers and heavy machinery at work. Steel truss sections were lifted by cranes, and ironworkers braved heights to bolt them together. The dramatic moment came as the central arch was raised, connecting both halves and completing the bridge's iconic silhouette over Baltimore. The Francis Scott Key Bridge opened in 1977, quietly becoming the backbone of Baltimore's industry and commerce. It immediately eased truck traffic, serving as a vital route for hazardous materials and goods. For decades, it worked around the clock, connecting communities and powering the port. The Key Bridge was a true workhorse, reliable, essential, and quietly indispensable. For generations, the Chesapeake Bay was Maryland's greatest resource and its biggest barrier. The bay split the state in two, the bustling western shore and the quiet, isolated eastern shore. Ferries were slow and the journey long. The dream of a bridge, a link uniting both shores, endured for decades. But the divide remained, a constant reminder of the water that both defined and separated Maryland. After World War II, Maryland's booming growth overwhelmed the old ferry system. The state was divided. Some demanded a bold bridge to unite Maryland and fuel economic growth, while others feared losing their quiet way of life. Governor Lane championed the bridge, facing fierce opposition. In 1947, the legislation passed. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge dream was finally set in motion. Building the Chesapeake Bay Bridge was a monumental feat. Spanning over 4 miles, it had to rise high above 2 busy shipping channels, creating its iconic roller coaster profile. Construction began in 1949, battling deep water, wild weather, and tough conditions. Hundreds of workers and years of effort led to its 1952 opening, a triumph of engineering, connecting Maryland's shores and conquering the bay's Great Divide. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge is an engineering marvel, and a source of pure terror for many drivers. Rising out of the water, its twin spans stretch to the horizon, climbing nearly 200 feet above the bay. Fog, storms, and high winds can make the drive feel like a white-knuckled journey into the unknown. The fear is so real, there's even a drive-over service for those too anxious to cross themselves. For many, the Chesapeake Bay Bridge truly is America's scariest drive. When the first cars rolled across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge in 1952, it was really the dawn of a new era for Maryland. The bridge did more than just connect 2 pieces of land. It fundamentally reshaped the state's economy, culture, and identity. The impact on the Eastern Shore was immediate and dramatic. The once isolated region was suddenly accessible. Tourists from Baltimore, Washington, and beyond flocked to the beaches of Ocean City, turning it from a sleepy seaside town into a major summer resort destination. Real estate values soared, and new businesses catering to tourism sprang up all along the coast, transforming the local economy. The bridge was also a lifeline for the Eastern Shore's agricultural and seafood industries. Farmers and watermen could now get their products to the large urban markets on the Western Shore quickly and reliably. The long, slow ferry rides were replaced by a short drive, meaning produce was fresher when it arrived at market and seafood could be transported with less spoilage. This direct access to consumers and distributors boosted incomes and helped to sustain the traditional industries of the region. The bridge became an essential commercial artery, pumping economic vitality from the farms and waters of the east to the cities of the west. By the 1960s, the original 2-lane bridge was already becoming a victim of its own success. The traffic jams that once plagued the ferry terminals now appeared at the bridge itself, especially on summer weekends. The solution was to build a second parallel span. Construction on the new, wider, 3-lane westbound span began in 1969, and it opened to traffic in 1973. This expansion created the dual-span bridge we know today, with a total of 5 lanes to handle the ever-increasing flow of traffic. The parallel spans stand as a powerful symbol of just how profoundly the original bridge had changed Maryland's travel patterns. Today, the Chesapeake Bay Bridge is more than just infrastructure, it's a cultural icon. It represents the unification of the state, the final piece of the puzzle that made Maryland whole. While some on the Eastern Shore still lament the loss of their former isolation and the increased development, few would argue for a return to the days of the ferries. The bridge has woven the 2 shores together, creating a shared identity and a shared future. It stands as a testament to the vision of leaders like Governor Lane, who believed that a connected Maryland was a stronger Maryland. The great steel giant remains the ultimate symbol of connection in the old line state. Before the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, the Thomas J. Hatem Memorial Bridge was Maryland's vital crossing over the Susquehanna River. Opened in 1940, this steel truss bridge connected Havre de Grace and Perryville, transforming travel and replacing the old ferry. More than a crossing, it's a beloved landmark and a true steel sentinel, faithfully serving Maryland for over 80 years. The Governor Harry W. Nice Memorial Bridge, opened in 1940, connected rural southern Maryland to Virginia, replacing a slow ferry and transforming the region. For over 80 years, it was a vital link for commuters, farmers, and tourists. In 2022, a new modern span opened, continuing the bridge's legacy as Southern Maryland's indispensable lifeline. Just upstream from the Hatem Bridge stands the Millard E. Tidings Memorial Bridge, bigger, busier, and the workhorse of Interstate 95, the East Coast's main artery. Opened in 1963, it bypasses Havre de Grace and Perryville, moving massive volumes of cars and trucks between Baltimore, Delaware, and beyond. With its imposing steel arch, the Tidings Bridge is a vital, efficient superhighway, an icon of the interstate era. While massive structures like the Bay Bridge and the Key Bridge might dominate the headlines and the skyline, Maryland's transportation network is actually held together by thousands of smaller, often unnoticed bridges. These are the humble workaday connectors that cross smaller rivers, creeks, and streams in every county of the state. They may not be famous engineering marvels, but they are absolutely essential to the daily lives of millions of Marylanders. These bridges connect neighborhoods, provide access to schools and businesses, and make sure that emergency services can reach people in need. They are like the capillaries of the state's circulatory system, just as vital as the main arteries. Consider the countless bridges that carry local roads over tributaries like the Patuxent River, the Gunpowder River, or Antietam Creek. Each one has its own history and its own importance to the community it serves. Many are simple concrete beam or steel girder bridges, built more for function and durability than for, grand architectural statements. They're so common and so integrated into our daily travels that we often cross them without giving them a second thought. Yet, if any one of them were to close, the disruption to local traffic would be immediate and significant, forcing long detours and snarling the daily routines of residents. These smaller bridges also face their own unique set of challenges. A lot of them are older structures, built decades ago to handle less traffic and lighter vehicles than they're subjected to today. They require constant inspection, maintenance, and, eventually, replacement. The Maryland Department of Transportation and local county public works departments are engaged in a continuous effort to keep these thousands of smaller bridges safe and functional. It's a massive and often thankless task, a behind-the-scenes effort that ensures the smooth operation of the entire state road network. This work is crucial for maintaining the quality of life in communities large and small. From the historic stone arch bridges in Frederick County to the simple timber crossings on rural roads on the eastern shore, these unseen connectors are really the true fabric of Maryland's infrastructure. They may not have dramatic stories or fearsome reputations, but their collective importance is just, immeasurable. They are a constant reminder that connection isn't just about spanning vast bays and wide rivers, it's also about the small local links that tie our communities together day after day. They are the unsung heroes of the Maryland road map, quietly and reliably getting us where we need to go. Maryland's highways and bridges are the arteries and heart valves of the state, keeping people and commerce moving. Major bridges like the Key, Bay, and Tidings are vital connectors, linking communities and creating a resilient network. These structures work together, providing alternate routes and options, forming the foundation of Maryland's transportation system and the lifeblood of daily life. Maryland's bridges are more than crossings, they're economic engines. They connect ports, highways, and communities, moving billions in goods and people every day. The Port of Baltimore thrives because of these vital links. Bridges like the Key, Tidings, and Chesapeake Bay are critical to supply chains, tourism, and jobs. Maryland's prosperity is built on these steel connections, driving commerce, opportunity, and growth. While, the economic numbers are impressive, the true value of these bridges might be measured in something more personal. They connect people. They allow families separated by a river or a bay to come together for holidays and celebrations. They allow friends to visit each other without a long, complicated journey. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge, for example, totally transformed the relationship between the two shores. What was once a major expedition became a simple day trip. Grandparents on the western shore could suddenly attend their grandchild's soccer game on the eastern shore and be home for dinner. This human connection is an invaluable and often overlooked benefit of this massive infrastructure. These bridges also expand our opportunities. They change where we can choose to live and where we can choose to work. Someone might prefer the quiet rural lifestyle of the Eastern Shore but have a great job opportunity in Annapolis. The Bay Bridge makes that possible. A person might find affordable housing in southern Maryland and commute across the Nice-Middleton Bridge to a job in Virginia. The bridges broaden our horizons, giving us the freedom to build a life that balances our personal preferences with our professional needs. They break down geographic barriers and create larger, more integrated communities where people can live, work, and play across a wider area. This connection also fosters a stronger sense of shared identity. Before the Bay Bridge, Eastern Shoremen and Western Shoremen felt like two distinct identities. The bridge helped to weave those two cultures together, creating a more unified sense of what it means to be a Marylander. People from the city gained a greater appreciation for the rural and coastal traditions of the East, and people from the Eastern Shore became more connected to the political and cultural life of the state's capital. The bridges helped to shrink the state, fostering a sense of a single unified community that shares the same resources, challenges, and future. Ultimately, this is the most fundamental job of any bridge. It is about overcoming division. Whether it's the physical division of a body of water, or the cultural and economic divisions that result from it, a bridge is a statement of unity. It is a physical declaration that we are better off together than we are apart. From the massive spans that cross the Chesapeake to the small bridges that cross local streams, every single one serves this essential human purpose. They are the structures that allow us to form communities, maintain relationships, and build a society that is truly connected. Building a bridge is a monumental task, but honestly, the work doesn't stop once the ribbon is cut. In fact, a new, even longer job has just begun: the never-ending task of maintenance. A bridge is a dynamic structure, constantly under attack from the forces of nature and the stress of man. The salty air of the Chesapeake Bay is relentlessly corrosive to steel. The freeze-thaw cycles of winter cause concrete to crack and crumble. The constant pounding from millions of cars and heavy trucks puts immense strain on every weld, bolt, and beam. A bridge is in a constant state of decay, and fighting that decay is a full-time, high-stakes job. The Maryland Transportation Authority and other state and local agencies have teams of engineers and workers dedicated to this task. They are the bridge doctors, constantly inspecting, diagnosing, and treating the ailments of these massive structures. This involves routine visual inspections, where crews look for signs of rust, cracks, or stress. It also involves more advanced techniques like using ultrasonic equipment to look for hidden flaws inside the steel, or sending drone cameras to inspect hard-to-reach places. It's a dirty, difficult, and often dangerous job, performed high above the water or deep within the confined spaces of a bridge's structure. Maintenance goes far beyond just inspections. It involves a continuous cycle of repair and replacement. This can be as simple as patching potholes on the road deck, or as complex as replacing entire sections of corroded steel. Painting is one of the most critical and ongoing tasks. A bridge's coat of paint is not just for looks, it is its primary shield against rust. Repainting a massive structure like the Bay Bridge is a multi-year, multi-million-dollar project that requires workers to sandblast the old paint off and apply new high-tech coatings, all while containing the debris to protect the environment below. It's a job that is never truly finished. This perpetual cycle of maintenance is absolutely crucial for public safety and for protecting the massive investment that these bridges represent. Allowing a bridge to fall into disrepair is not an option. The work is expensive, time-consuming, and often inconvenient for drivers who have to deal with lane closures. But it is non-negotiable. Keeping Maryland's bridges strong, safe, and functional is a testament to the unseen work of hundreds of dedicated people. It is a dirty job, but it's one that ensures these vital arteries can continue to serve the people and the economy of Maryland for generations to come. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge is iconic and a little intimidating. Its reputation for scary drives has inspired drive-over services, where pros take the wheel for nervous travelers. The bridge's one-way tolling system means you pay to go to the beach, but the ride home is free. And high above the traffic, peregrine falcons nest, making this bridge a wild intersection of nature and engineering. The Francis Scott Key Bridge is known for its unique quirks, like the eerie, high-pitched hum it makes on windy days, earning it the nickname, the Singing Bridge. It's also the only Baltimore crossing for trucks carrying hazardous materials, making it a vital, if unusual, part of the city's infrastructure. Maryland's bridges each have their own stories, from commuter deals to old spans turned into thriving artificial reefs for marine life. Maryland's bridges are true giants, engineering marvels that connect communities and drive the region's economy. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge, once the world's longest overwater steel structure, soars 186 feet above the water. The Tidings Bridge carries 10 lanes of traffic, while the Hayton Bridge stretches 1.5 miles. Behind these numbers are years of planning, immense manpower and bold ambition. Maryland's bridges are more than roads over water. They're monuments to vision, ingenuity, and connection. From the industrial might of the Francis Scott Key Bridge to the grandeur of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, each tells a story of overcoming barriers and uniting communities. Their legacy is woven into daily life, shaping Maryland's economy, culture, and future. They are the silent partners in the state's success. Maryland's bridges are more than structures. They're vital links connecting communities and driving progress. The collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge reminds us how essential and vulnerable these connections are. As we rebuild, we look to smarter, stronger bridges for the future. Every bridge is a promise to unite, to overcome, and to keep Maryland moving forward, together.